Christian Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Slow Theology, 8 Practices for a Resilient Faith in a Turbulent World, by A.J. Swoboda and Nijay Gupta. Forward by Glenn Packiam. Narrated by Christopher Grove. Live slowly enough to be able to think deeply about God. J. I. Packer. Forward. The farmers in the old prairie days used to prepare for a winter storm by putting up a rope between the house and the barn. They did this because they knew that in a swirling blizzard, even a brief distance, such as the walk from their house to the barn, could be confusing and disorienting. That familiar journey they had taken hundreds of times could become a strange terrain, leaving them to freeze in the cold winter night. But with a rope, they knew they could always find their way home. We live in a confusing cultural moment. Opinions about God and what it means to be a Christian swirl all around us. Conflicting voices compete for our attention. To add to the storm, Christianity has been corrupted and co-opted by cultural forces and personal agendas. We've witnessed church leaders fail and fall and cause great harm. Maybe all of that has left you wanting to walk away. At the very least, you're wondering where you belong. You find yourself being haunted with a kind of spiritual homelessness. The church has lost its way, and now, so have you. We need a rope in the blizzard, something to lead us home to the heart of our faith. I've come to see the Nicene Creed as the rope that has served the church for 1,700 years. This instrument of unity reminds us of what binds us together as followers of Jesus. Christians are prone to argue and divide over many things, some that matter greatly and some that don't. Throughout church history, the Creed has served as a confessional reminder that the things that define us as Christians ought to unite us as Christians. In that way, the Creed is not just an instrument of unity, it is also a guide in uncertainty, a path in the wild, reminding us of the faith of the apostles. After all, it was drafted at a time when false teachers were gaining traction and popularity, threatening to corrupt the church. The Creed gives us an outline of doctrine. It is meant as a resource for worship. That is how it is used in churches all around the world today. As someone who led worship for many years in the church, I recognize that the Creed is structured similar to a hymn, organized in stanzas around the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Confessed in faith with the community of God's people in the gathering of worship, these words become an invitation into the glorious mystery of knowing the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I have written about all this, and yet I know there's something missing. The Creed is not enough. The Creed gives us the faith, its content and perhaps more accurately its object, the triune God himself. But there is still work to be done to cultivate our faith, the act of believing. If the Creed is the rope, our confession of it is the grip. This is where things start to get precarious. Faith in this sense can feel like a different kind of rope, a tightrope, and we are trying to walk across. Make one error, and you plunge to disaster on either side. You could fall due to believing the wrong thing, or you could fall due to believing the right thing too rigidly or too loosely. Dangers lurk all around. We feel these perils acutely because we have been conditioned to think of faith as something we must hold to on our own. If we cannot verify and validate each claim ourselves, our faith is at risk. There are many ways to explain the roots of our spiritual paranoia. Perhaps it comes from our American individualism. Maybe it's the unintended consequence of an emphasis on a personal faith. We've taken personal to mean individual or even private. Or maybe it's the fixation on a particular kind of knowledge, the kind that comes from proofs and probabilities and results in certainty. Whatever the case, our ability to believe has become a tightrope that we must be careful not to fall from. We believe in. Consider this creed again. There are 3 clues from the early church. In many modern versions, the repeated
Sample complete. Ready to continue?